Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. Sometimes you hit the wrong button and you think it's going to do something that does something totally different. You would think after having this many shows that I would have it figured out. But you know what? I'm not perfect. It's not a perfect world. And I can just hope that we'll be able to correct this situation soon. Shout out orders of business. Number one, I want to welcome people to the show. This is the Shout Out Show. I'm your host, Preach Moss. Number two, if you come to the show for the first time, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your concern. We appreciate your support. We also ask that you click the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Click the like button. Trying to grow this project. Number two, if you are an official SOS family member, SOS soldier, I appreciate you. And I appreciate you. My family appreciates you. We thank you so much for tuning in. Because sometimes, you put stuff on. We got people coming in. We got people like my sister Ree bought some devastatingly good salad pasta yesterday. And all the way from the UK, Sister Yasmin Fruits. This is a sister doing amazing work over in the UK with charity. Keep her in your blessings, in your positive thoughts. Keep her in your prayers. Because people like her do some of the hard work we don't see. And that's serving humanity. That's very, very important. Now, I also want to give some shout outs, some condolences. I want to give another condolence, a shout out, if you will, to Coach John Thompson and his family back in Washington, D.C. Also, Cliff Robinson, his loss was very impactful. And as well, Chad Boseman of Black Panther fame. I saw a clip of him today, just really tore at my heartstrings. And it reminded me how in a world that can be so crazy, you're going to have people that they don't think they're extraordinary people. They just think they're doing regular things and not really aware of how they affect people, their effect on people, because they never stop to look at their work. They never stop to take a poll. These are people who just essentially say, this is what I got to do. Let me go ahead and do it. And I appreciate that. But I literally appreciate that. So I'm giving those shouts out. Now, today's topic, someone said it might be controversial. I don't really think it's controversial if you break it down. I think what's happening in society today is people throw out things. We have people who are seeking attention. I call them saying they have negative attention-seeking behaviors, as we used to say in the special ed game. But also, there are people who tend to say things are controversial in a way of trying to start a new conversation about something that's not very controversial. Like, to me, the truth is not very controversial. What's controversial is when you don't speak the truth, when you don't lead with transparency, when you try to mislead people. When you come back, all of a sudden it is controversial. And most of the time chaotic too. But that's the thing that I have to learn, even myself. I have to lean back a little bit. And I have to allow people, if you will, to grab hold to the truth. Let me say that again. I have to learn to allow people to grab hold to the truth. We may know the truth about a situation, whether it's in our religious orientation, our religious books, or just common sense. But sometimes you have to sit back and let people grab hold to truth. I have to allow people to value truth, if you will. Because if it's 10 people in the room, 9 people in the room going, that's wrong. And the other person goes, no, I'm right. All 9 of you are wrong. I think that's the world we're in today. So as I say that, I had to put that out there because I'm about to get into the meat of the topic today. And the meat of the topic today, brothers and sisters, is this. It's a question, not a rhetorical question. The question I asked for today's show, and the title of today's show is, wait for it, why are white people losing it? Let me say it again. Why are white people losing it? When I say losing it, I don't mean just their minds. I mean losing aspects of compassion, aspects of mercy, aspects of fairness, aspects of equality and justice. They are losing it, brothers and sisters. And I don't mean from a conscious, right? They are throwing it away. So when I say why are they losing it, I'm also inferring, if you will, that there's a space out there that people think that it's okay to move away from reason. You see, when you claim something, that you're the smartest, that you're the brightest, that you're the most powerful, that you're the all-knowing, and you're not God, you got a lot to live up to. Let me give a shout out. What's going on, Sister Kathina? Hope your daughter's doing well. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Her daughter graduated basic training, everybody. But this theme of white people losing it. And I said, what are they losing? There was a song by some group back in the day called Losing My Religion. And I said, man, that's a terrible song. How you lose your religion? But in the song, they talk about how they lose their religion. I was like, okay, cool. It's a popular song. I won't hear me singing around my house, and my mother won't let me sing around my house anyway. But my point is, as you look around the world today, I am seeing the idea of whiteness and people who have aspired to this idea of whiteness losing it. They are no longer themselves. And what happened was, this was foretold a long time ago. What had delayed this loss of whiteness here in the United States was the fact that, brothers and sisters, people began to understand law. Laws didn't preserve the craziness. Laws didn't preserve the segregation. At every point in time, and I've said this to a person who called himself, a racist, whatever. I said, you have to be the most optimistic person in the world because everything you advocate for has gone to pot. Mixed marriages, housing, busing, schools, laws, business, it's all gone to pot. And I think at this particular time, brothers and sisters, it's getting crazy because I'm hearing how white people, wait for it, white people are talking to themselves. There's an old philosophy about when people will eat their young, when adults will offer up their children for sacrifice, but won't offer up themselves for sacrifice. This is the conundrum in the United States today. You've heard me talk about American exceptionalism. Let me throw something else in about American exceptionalism. It didn't include blacks. It didn't include Latinos. It didn't include Asians. It didn't include Muslims. It didn't include Native Americans. This idea of American exceptionalism is a white construct. And around the world now, nobody believes in it. Business is shot, reputation is shot, intelligence is shot. All the things that we used to hold on to, if you allow me, all the things we used to hold on to and claim as with the vestiges of these things are no longer around. They're no longer around. Let me give a shout out to my sister. Hey, what's going on, Sister Eleanor? Good to see you made it to the show. That's my mom's best friend. I got to shout her out. But here's the deal. Why are white folks losing it? It's a very, very, very simple reason. White folks are losing it because they realize that they can't win. Woo! Let me say it again. White folks are losing it because they realize that they can't win. And historically, when I say white in America, I want you to understand they're separate, but they're together. Separate, but they're together. White America has realized that they can't win. And so they attach their boats. They attach their boats to people who tell them they can win. But even the people who tell them they can win know they can't win, knowing that when this thing all goes to pot, when it all blows up, those people will be in a nice house. Those people will be politicians still. And those folks who believed in them will be in these backward towns, little hills, bemoaning the fact, wait for it, bemoaning the fact that they agreed with somebody who they knew wasn't going to do right by them, and they hung with them anyway. I'll give a shout out. Walaikum assalam, Sister Aika, all the way from Indonesia. But here's the danger. Just like when you have a wounded animal is the most dangerous when they're wounded. Meaning, I've told you all the things they've lost. I said, why are white people losing it? You thought I was talking about their minds. They're losing the economic battle. When I say white, attach something around that white. Entitled. People who are entitled. White people who are entitled are the ones who are in danger. Because in that space and time, they live in a whole different disillusionment, if you will. And that disillusionment has to continue. Here in the United States, we have the National Basketball Association playing in a bubble to guard against coronavirus and They're playing in a bubble. Thank you so much, sister. They're playing in a bubble. And people thought that the bubble would keep out coronavirus, but everything else crept into the bubble. Race relations crept into the bubble. Jacob Blake creeped into the bubble. Protests creeped into the bubble. Players talked about anxiety, depression, being detached from their families, creeping into the bubble. Now this is a bubble, a constructed bubble. It has a door and a window that you go out. The white people that I'm talking about that are losing it live in a bubble in their mind. And then that bubble, brothers and sisters, it is impenetrable. That bubble doesn't have a seam. It doesn't have a stem that you can blow in or put air in and let it out. They've been living in this bubble for a long time. And all of a sudden the bubble busts and they were so disillusioned, they didn't realize that the bubble had bust. They don't know that the bubble has bust. And I say, why are they losing it? I'm going to tell you why. Because if you hang around people who work hard, who are righteous individuals, who have compassion, who have mercy, and you're not part of that population, those are not part of your core values, you will, from the inside, decay. So why are white people losing? Because they're decaying. Any doctor will tell you, and when a person dies, what does it break down? What is it a breakdown? Breakdown of the organs. The organs have a larger functionality. The organs allow you to blink and breathe and things like that. If your organs, your intestinal foundation is broken or somehow malfunctioning, guess what, folks? It ain't long before you'll be out of here. When I say out of here, some people go, oh, preacher, you mean, well, you'll die. Well, yeah, sort of a metaphoric death. Because what they're seeing day in, day out is they can't win. I wouldn't put it all on Obama. When Obama became president, people said it was a fluke. But when he got reelected, people literally stopped believing in God. That's how bad it was. Many aspects of white America stopped believing in God because Obama got elected. And I remember hearing a guy, if there was a just God, there's no way he'd give us this Negro for another 4 years. I wish he got a third. But look, here's the deal, brothers and sisters, to keep it real for all of us. Despite the fact that I say that white people are losing it, we still have a fiduciary responsibility to these people if we cannot in some way bring them to the other side, which is very difficult. You still have to keep giving them the example of an upright living, of an upright understanding, an upright character. You got to show them that, because every once in a while they change. Some of the worst races in the world, I'm talking about leading KKK chapters and things like Grand Wizards, many of them tried to maintain that lifestyle. And I'm going to tell y'all something. The lifestyle of a racist is horrible. They have a lot of health problems. You always talk about the big bubba. That's the racist guy who got the big stomach and always red and flush. Well, brothers and sisters, there's a reason why I call him rednecks. Because he's not healthy. We're not talking about his neck is red. We're talking about he's not healthy. They don't have good health care. I just want to say, anybody who want to be a racist, read the paperwork, because your health care is not good. You're already walking into a situation where you have pre-existing conditions. Allow me to continue. The other aspect is the isolation. The willingness to live in a bubble is dangerous. The willingness to live in a bubble is dangerous to the point that when the bubble is not there, you will willingly imagine the things, the vitriol you've been talking about, the hatred, I'll kill you, my da-da-da-da, and it spills over to a place like Kenosha. Okay? You separate the shooting of Jacob Blake, that's one thing. But in Kenosha, Wisconsin, you had a young man, you know who I'm talking about. You had a young man come over from Illinois into another state, shoot 3 people. And somehow he had the idea, brothers and sisters, that he was doing something patriotic. Now, this is only cumbersome because I watch a press conference, because every once in a while I watch President Trump do a press conference, and not because I need new material. I have plenty of material. But he refused to condemn the young man shooting him and sat there and told people with a straight face, that, you know what, he was in big trouble. People were chasing him. Yeah, you shoot people, folks might chase you. But here's the other thing. It played to the bubble that's not there anymore. One of the reasons I don't like Donald Trump is not because he's a liar. I know plenty of people who are liars. I don't like Donald Trump because he puts out lies that he knows can hurt people. You see what I'm saying? He puts out lies that he knows can hurt people, that can compromise people. I rarely talk about people on the show in a negative way, but it doesn't move from the fact that we have to be truthful. And so you have people who are already angry, who are already injured, they're already stressed out, they're already depressed. You give them a gun and you say, let's play Russian roulette. And instead of just putting one bullet in, you've put 6 bullets in. And they still want to believe that you gave them 1 bullet, but you gave them 6. And you don't mind standing there while they kill themselves, while they blow their brains out for these wicked ideas, these unrealistic expectations, also that you can have a job, Mr. President. Yeah, the white coat. Well, let me tell y'all something about the white coat. The white coat really only works for white people. Let me say it again. The white coat only really works for white people. So, Blanks, I'm going to tell you why. I had a summer job one time working at a retirement home for widows of Army officers. This is when I was a teenager. And they treated us guys who were waiters, they treated us like we weren't even there. They treated us like it was 1930. And I remember this one woman. She worked for us. Her name was Miss Irene. What's Miss Irene? Or Miss Eleanor? No, it was Miss Eleanor. Sorry, Eleanor, not you. But there's a woman named Miss Eleanor. And Miss Eleanor talked to us about how to be around these people, how to be invisible, how to lay the food on the table and not disrupt their conversation. And one time I'm listening to these 2 elderly white women talk. And I got to talking about where they're from. Now, keep in mind, I'm all of 17, if you will. They started talking about where they're from. And you know what they didn't say? They didn't say, I'm white. They didn't say, I'm from White-tobia or Caucasia, or nothing like that. They said, I'm from Germany. They said, I'm from Italy. They said, my people are from Poland. They said, my people are from Tibet. They said, my people are from France. And all these names and places is funny. But when they get here, the game is always to white people, you're white. And they play the game, if you will. Let me borrow from Brother Blanks. The code, if you will. It's the white code. The white code says, whatever you do, whoever you are, whatever you believe, this thing must exist. This construct of whiteness must exist. Even if you don't believe in it, you're going to have to hold it up because we believe in it. Because it's like a domino, it's like a game of Jenga. You pull one piece out, the whole house falls down. And along the way, there have been people who pull those pegs out. But traditionally, the people who pulled the pegs out didn't look like them. So those people that pulled the pegs out, they were like Malcolm X, and they were like King, and they were like someone, Obama and John Lewis. They were like people who folks could say, it's all right because they're not from our crew anyway. They're not a part of our code. And it was, here and there. It was happenstance. Now, never strategic, because, black people are not strategic. According to Donald Trump, we just vote for him because, what do you got to lose? I'm going to tell you in November, we're fitting to lose you. So here's this deal. In the power structure, the Italians and the Jews and all these folks, when it comes to power, getting power, maintaining power, or taking power away, will stand up and say, I'm white. I buy into the concept of whiteness and everything it's going to bring me. Forget about white privilege, because we use that word, white privilege. No. I'm talking about the idea of whiteness that came here in the United States that said, we're going to lie about everything. Native Americans, we're going to lie about you. We're going to get rid of you. Black folk, we're going to bring you here as skilled labor. We're going to turn you into indentured service. Then we're going to turn you into free labor. It's done the same thing for women. It's done the same thing for Muslims and all kind of folks. It's this whole idea. Let me give a shout out for my mom. Hey, Mom. Thank you for coming, Mom. Sorry I didn't call you this morning. But let me hit you over the head with this one right here. What does it mean when whiteness doesn't work? What does it mean when whiteness doesn't work? And I'm going to give you guys a great example from elementary school. Because you had to go to busing. You know, we had integrated school. I didn't want to go to school with white people. This is honest. You know, I'd rather go to school with black people. I knew them. They knew me, blah, 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 blah. But in Prince George's County, the school was mixed. You had to go. It's like, okay, you got there. And I remember a white kid wanting to fight me. And somehow I looked at this kid and I was like, it's no way he really wants to fight me. Like, I'm literally going, this is not going to be a good fight. It's not going to end well for you. I literally tried to talk him out. And I realized at some point in time that he thought his superpower in this fight that was about to happen was that he was white. That somehow him being white was going to blind me, so when I threw a punch, I'd miss him. And he'd be able to hit me or be invisible. Or I'd swing and he'd get right to his jaw and stop because it was the white superpower. And he asked for that butt whooping. And I reminded him over and over and over that your white superpowers don't work. As I drug him down the street and tried to put his head through a chain link fence, may Allah forgive me on Judgment Day, I wanted to let him and all his other friends know that at least for me, whiteness doesn't work. Your superpower doesn't work. I'm kryptonite. But that's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. And I was a child. But here's the reality. Children grow up. Children grow up. Now, the one thing that kid didn't have was the law. The power of the law. And what's happening now? As we fight, because this is probably one of the most litigious presidents we've ever had. Everything is a fight. I'll take it to court. Da, 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 da. He will lose in court. He gets appeals, but he will lose in court. And when I say lose in court, I don't mean just the legal process. I mean in the court of opinion. I mean, people with rational minds have begun to look at this for this person and go, you know what? I can't follow that. There are politicians who are horrible politicians going, I'm horrible, but I can't roll with that. And they quietly sit to the back and say, hey, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But, you know, if this fool gets reelected, everybody be lining up. We're right there with you, Donald. Thinking that superpower works for them. It does not. Let me give a shout out. I know, Sister Jasper. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not a violent person, Sister Jasper, but I wanted to see if the superpowers worked. They didn't work that day. But in all reality, at 53 years old, I feel pensive. I feel hesitant to even talk about this issue because I thought maybe at 33 years old that we wouldn't be going through this right now. That this whole idea of whiteness and me talking about white people losing it is sad because there are good white people, but they're lumped in with people who aren't so good, who aren't so willing to accept and understand that not Black Lives Matter, Black existence matters, humanity matters. And because of that, we can't get to those people unless they leave, or I say escape or abdicate from the madness that's around them. Donald Trump went to Kenosha knowing that it was a community that was hurting, knowing that the mayor did not want him there to make an apology. Not to make an apology, but to stir things up. He thought that me going to Wisconsin, it'll bode well come election time that I came to Wisconsin. And he wasn't there for peace. He wasn't there for calm down everybody. He didn't even see the victim or the family of the victim, Jacob Blake, because he said, oh, there were some lawyers there. I'm like, dude, I don't care if there's 1 million lawyers there. You go and show your respect. So, as I begin to wrap up, brothers and sisters, let me tell you a couple of things that you need to be looking out for, because white folks are losing it. The thing you really need to be looking out for is this right here. The fact that you're going to have a lot of people, brothers and sisters, you're going to have a lot of people who are, for lack of a better word, trying to find themselves in new laws. They're going to create new laws. So while everything is going on right now, there's a cadre of white people or people who think they have white superpowers who are figuring out new laws to keep us jammed up for the next 50, 60, 70, 30s, 50, 60, 100 years, brothers and sisters. We won't figure it out. You see, in politics, you have to have the right balance to change a law. You have to have the right balance to issue one, but it's terribly difficult to get a law off the books. That's number one. Number two, there's going to be a very, very, very hard-fought, knockdown, drag-out argument over education. This scares me. I know I make jokes, but this scares me. I was made a headline. I didn't even want to go into it, but I will go back. President Trump said in school they need to be teaching more patriotic things about society in America. More patriotic things about society in America. I'm like, what is that? Because this kid that just shot 3 people in Kenosha, guess what they were calling him? A patriot. The brainwashing, if you will, brothers and sisters, is already underway. This Betsy DeVoid lady, Betsy the Dunce, she's not an educator. She's a strategic person. And she's a strategic person working on behalf of this person, probably working on behalf of Russia. Who knows? I believe Russia has 80% of the cabinet that Trump deals with in their pocket. That's just me. But then the last thing that you need to be really, really aware of, and I say this, is that they will come for religion. Let me say it again. They will come for your religion because they have no religion. Because they believe that somehow, somewhere, God has let them down unless God is giving them what they want. That's not God. That's an illusion. That's a God complex. They will come for your religion. So if you're Baptist, if you're Muslim, if you're Jew, hell, if you're atheist, if you believe in something other than this idea of whiteness and white privilege and all that stuff comes underneath it, if you believe in that construct, brothers and sisters, they will come for you. My question is why? Because we dare to think differently. So tomorrow, if at all possible, I'm going to talk about why black folk and people who support black folk, I should say maybe non-whites, how we cannot lose, how we win. Maybe not tomorrow, but sometime this week. Because I'm going to say something. There's a facade out there that we can't win. It's a facade out there that we can't win. And I used to be very critical of people who acted like they couldn't win. But then I realized something. I was being hard on folks. The reality of the situation is we can win, but we have to understand historically how we do it. That's it for the show today. You guys have been excellent. I want to give a shout out. SOS family, SOS soldiers, love you guys. See you tomorrow. Mom, Miss Eleanor, y'all behave. That's it. Your brother, Preacher Moss. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you again. Hey everybody, this is your brother Preacher Moss. Listen, I hope that you enjoyed your shout out show experience. We'll be back with the next show, the next shout out show. Simple ask before you go, please help your brother out. Click that subscribe button, click that notify button, and I'll see you again on this side of the microphone. You probably wonder what that smell is. That's me. I smell good. And the reason I smell good is because I use oils from Tarifa Tar. So I'm not saying you can't smell good. I'm not even saying you stink. I'm saying you have the opportunity to smell exquisite. Check out tarifatar.com for some of the best oils and scents in town.